and not only discover, but actually savor what's inside. Don't be afraid of what's inside unless you want to murder your husband. Don't worry, my husband's still alive, and we have been married 25 years come September 6th, 2024. Don't be afraid of the scorpion. She is your reminder. She is your permission, and she promises transformation. So how about that? I did say in the beginning it was harrowing. It wasn't actually harrowing. It's funny now when I see a scorpion. True story. Last night I was in the kitchen eating some yogurt. I've fallen in love with vanilla Chobani yogurt, savoring the yogurt with some strawberries. And I'm like literally out the corner of my eye, I see this little thing running across the floor. I have these like kind of tile floors and brownish tones in them. And I thought it was a little lizard because sometimes we get these little gecko things that come running through the house. And I've learned to just accept my living space with them. But this wasn't a gecko. This was a big ass scorpion. And it reminded me of when I moved into this house 17 years ago, and they had to do a lot of reconstruction. And what I came to learn is that when you are reconstructing a house, doing all of these things, especially in Tucson, Arizona, scorpions, they somehow are hanging out under the ground. And when you start doing the remodeling and moving things around, they like to come out. Um, and so when I moved here, I moved from Maryland to the desert, and our house was infested with scorpions. And I literally lived for a year just in fear. And I honestly had forgotten about the old scorpion promises transformation story because I was like in fight or flight mode at this time. I remember looking out and there were rattlesnakes outside. There were pack rats running around the house, and the house was infested with scorpions. There was literally not a day that went by that I did not encounter a scorpion. And I will tell you, I did not escort these scorpions outside. I killed all of them in the house. I was like, when I'm in your house, cool, we can do what you do. But when you're in my house, sorry. So I have not evolved to that point where I can take all of the bugs and escort them outside. But that said, last night I'm minding my own business, and this big ass scorpion is running across the floor. And this scorpion is actually bigger than the scorpions that I saw in the house. The ones that we had, um, you know, 17 years ago were like little tiny scorpions, which from what I understand, that's even worse than the big ones because the big ones have, I guess, better way to control their venom. I don't know. Maybe it's the scorpions or the snakes. It doesn't matter. All of it was just too much. I was just like, oh my God, are we doing this again? But I chuckled when I saw the scorpion last night. I'm sorry I had to kill him because he was too big and I just couldn't have him running around my house. It reminded me this time. It reminded me of the work that I have to do and the growth and the fact that we're always changing, and this idea that, you just go through menopause and then it's like, well, what happens after that? I'm 10 years out. I'm over 10 years out at this point. And what I'm finding is that there's still so much happening. There's still so many changes, and it's not a destination. It's all about the journey. Like we never stop evolving. We never stop changing. And that's probably one of the biggest myths about menopause is this idea that it's like this space and time point that happens and that, you go through it and then somehow something ends. But it doesn't work that way. It is really the gateway into our second half, which opens up this whole new door of excitement and experiences and confusion and all the things. And so just like we change from infants to children to going through puberty to our reproductive years, we're going through this phase. It's really just a gateway into this whole open space that there really isn't a whole lot of understanding, right? Especially as women, what's next? And this is the period that we're in of what's next, whether you're at the front end, the middle, the back end, we are constantly going through this change. And so I invite you to embrace it, to recognize that it, again, is it's not a destination. You're on a journey and you're going to keep changing. Um, and we're on this journey together. So as our time continues to go here, we're going to tap into the questions, obviously, that come up. But some of the questions and some of the stories and the interviews and the things that I want to talk about are, for me, the unknown, the questions and things that I just never really either took the time or allowed myself to take the time to explore. Exploring what pleasure really is, exploring what living authentically really looks like, and starting to actually discover who we really are. I think the one thing I love the most about this journey is that at the end of the day, um, we get to actually deconstruct all of the things that we were taught and thought we knew and understood. And as we go into this phase, we realize that we're building a whole new me. You're building a whole new you. If you've had kids or mothered kids, you realize that now that they're leaving the house, you're looking up and you're wondering, what the hell? What am I doing now? And remember, as our estrogen levels change, our brain chemistry literally changes. That's what I love about the work of Dr. Luann Brezendine, who wrote the book, The Female Brain, and also wrote the most recent book, The Upgrade. I think she's brilliant and really in her analogies and understanding of the fact that as women, we're evolving right along with how our brain chemistry is actually changing. And there actually is a freedom that comes with that evolution because we are no longer just tethered by worries of what other people think or what's expected, and we start to really wake up, and that veil of pleasing, that veil of hiding, that veil of not truly expressing our truth starts to fade away. And if we can muster up the courage, we can find the ability to find that voice and to figure out who is actually speaking. Thank you guys. This is going to be a journey for all of us. So I invite you to join me again. We are going to be tackling a lot of things. Next will be really what some of these myths are. I want us to be really clear on what that looks like and what that can look like for the average person. Stay tuned and stay juicy while we discover together on this magical, mystical midlife ride.